Okay, we have our triangles here. We have our 30-degree triangle, our 60-degree triangle, our 45-degree triangle, our 0-degree triangle, and our 90-degree right triangle. And these are all right triangles. These are kind of false triangles. And then when it gets to 0, of course, these two sides are the same. And when this thing goes to 0, this thing goes to 0 here, and each side are 1 and 1. And the cosine of an angle is defined as adjacent over a hypotenuse. So hypotenuse. So if I want to look at the cosine of 30 degrees, I go to my 30-degree triangle, and it is adjacent over hypotenuse, or √3/2. By the way, the little word is cosody. Cos-ad-he. Cosody is adjacent over hypotenuse. You can remember that word. Synopy is for sine. Cosody is for cosine. Cosody. Okay. And now we want to look at the cosine of 60 degrees. What is the cosine of 60 degrees? That's adjacent. That's 1/2. Adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay. And then the cosine of 45 degrees. By definition, here's 45 degrees is adjacent over hypotenuse, 1/√2. Okay. And then I'm going to look at the cosine of 0 degrees. Here's my 0-degree triangle, adjacent over hypotenuse, 1/1, which is 1. And then I'll do the cosine of 90 degrees. Here's 90 degrees, and adjacent over hypotenuse is 0/1, or 0. So we found all those common angles. Those are the 5 common angles in the first quadrant. They include both 0 and 90. And now we're going to look at the tangent, okay? And the tangent of theta. We'll look at tangent of 30 degrees. And I'll put here the tangent. How's that defined? That's defined, we call it tan of theta, okay, of an angle. And that's defined as adjacent, opposite over adjacent, tanapad, opposite over adjacent, okay? And the word you use there is tanapad. And let's see, tanapad. Op-ad. So you got 3 words here. Synopy, opposite over hypotenuse, cosody, adjacent over hypotenuse, and tanapad, opposite over adjacent. I'm going to erase that tanapad there because I need a little bit of room here. And so I need the tangent of 30 degrees. So I look at 30 degrees, and that's tan op-ad. Opposite over adjacent is 1/√3. Okay, or we can rationalize the denominator and go √3/3. That's a 3 there. Okay. The tangent of 60 degrees, here's 60 degrees, is opposite over adjacent, √3/1, which is √3. The tangent of 45 degrees, here we are, is opposite over adjacent, and so that's 1. And then we want to be able to do the tangent. Where can I fit it in here? I'll tell you what I'll do. Yeah, I'll put it here. Tangent of 0. And I go to my 0-degree triangle, opposite over adjacent side. By the way, what we say is this is the opposite side here. The adjacent side is the one that's not the hypotenuse. This is the adjacent side, and this is the hypotenuse. So remember, the hypotenuse, adjacent side, and the side adjacent to the angle, opposite the angle. Perhaps I should have said that when we first started, but I'm pointing to them, so I hope you caught that. At 0 here, it's the opposite over the adjacent side, which is 0. And then I look at tangent of 90 degrees, and I notice opposite over 1/0. We're not allowed division by 0, so that's undefined. Okay, so there is no tangent of 90 degrees. And so the definition, and I'll set up to tell you about the triangles again. What we do is we take an angle, we drop an altitude, and it creates a right triangle. And then this is our angle. This is the side opposite. This is the side adjacent. You might think, well, this is adjacent next to that angle, but this is the hypotenuse. So hypotenuse, adjacent, opposite. The 3 words that you use are synopy, cosody, and tanapad. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and taniped opposite over adjacent.